Houston. Houston, we have a problem. DJ Apollo has landed. I repeat, DJ Apollo has landed.
Hear me?
Well, greetings and salutations. You're listening to the Tales of Music and Film podcast. My name is Christian Taylor, and I want to personally thank you for clicking on today's episode. Gotta say, it feels very great to be back finally. I haven't done an episode in about a month just because I've just been so busy with my jobs. But for the first time this weekend, I have some free time, so I thought, hey, why not do a recording? It's currently the first day of February. It's February 1st, 2026, and it is still freezing cold outside, and I'm not wanting to go out very much, if I'm being honest with myself. I'm pretty sure me and most of you listening to this are probably fed up with the extremely cold temperatures and ready for spring to show up, so I'm looking very forward to that. But before we get to the movie that we're going to be discussing today, I figured I'd let you guys in on what's been going on recently. But like I said, just been working a lot, been subbing a lot at a district near my town. I've been subbing at their schools a lot. It's been going pretty well. Been working at Walmart a lot recently. My hours have gone up just a little bit, so that's good. Any chance I can get to get some extra hours, I take it, because I need all the money I can get, because my college loans are not going to pay themselves. But yeah, I've been getting all my bills paid off. Been saving up for the Disney trip that's happening in December. And just a few days ago, I took my father and my brother to go see a AC/DC tribute band at the Lincoln Theater in Decatur. We saw Noise Pollution, a fantastic tribute band to AC/DC. If you guys haven't seen them, I highly recommend you go check them out. They are fantastic. The whole band has the method down. I mean, they sound just like him. I mean, the guy who's impersonating Brian Johnson for that band, he sounds just like him. I mean, dude, it was epic. I mean, they played for 2.5 hours, and they knocked it out of the freaking park. It was great. And they played all kinds of songs that genuinely surprised me. Like, they played Who May Who, Flick of the Switch, me and my dad had a huge laugh because they played the song Big Balls, and we used to joke with one another that, oh, they would never play that one live, you know, and I think that's probably one of the strangest songs AC/DC has ever made, and I never thought I would get a chance to hear that one live, but here we are. So yeah, him and I had a good laugh at the show when they did that one, but of course they did all the classics, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, Shoot the Thrill, Hell's Bells, you know, they did a Rock and Roll Noise Pollution too off of Back in Black. What's really cool though, they did almost every song off the Back in Black album except for Shake a Leg, which is track number 9. That seems to be the only one that they did not do. Other than that, they played all the others. So yeah, that was epic. It was really funny. There were several times I turned around. So me, my brother, and my father, we were near the front row. And I remember turning around and seeing the room full of people, and it was funny seeing all these middle-aged, like, people who were in their, like, 50s or early 60s. Like, there is this row of women about a few rows behind us, and they were standing up and dancing throughout most of the show. But yeah, it was great. We had a grand old time. So yep, did that. Yeah, that's going to be the last show for a while. For the next month, I got really no events to look forward to or anything. Me, my mom, and my aunts and my grandmother, we are going to go see a Huey Lewis and the News tribute show at that same theater in March to see the premiere of the Huey Lewis and the News tribute band called Power of Love. And they look and sound just like them, so I'm very looking forward to seeing them live as well. Lastly, there is a Rush tribute show showing up to that same theater in April, and I'm planning on seeing them as well. They are called YYNOT, and they are a tribute band to Rush, and I figured it'd be very cool to go see them because they sound just like them, but what's really cool is they're not like an exact tribute band to Rush. They play their songs, but they do their own little spin on them, if that makes sense. I believe it's a 4-piece band, and they have this gorgeous female vocalist. She doesn't look like she's that much older than me, and when she hits those high notes, man, she sounds just like Getty. I mean, like, I want to see this band just for her alone. She sounds amazing. So I definitely want to see them just to see her, because my father and I are big Rush fans. I mean, I'm more of a casual fan, but I enjoy their stuff. But anyway, they announced this year that they're touring to celebrate 50 years, and they have a new female drummer. But the minute the tickets went on sale, they were all sold out like pretty quickly, and the ones that were left were the extremely expensive tickets that my family and I we just cannot afford to buy. So we were really bummed that we didn't get to do that, but thankfully we got tickets to see AC/DC in September instead in St. Louis. So that was amazing. But I mean, I wish I could get to see Rush live, but it just wasn't meant to be. But I think this tribute band's gonna be the next best thing. The best second chance I could ever ask for. So I'm planning on going to see it, so I'm very looking forward to that as well. But enough about that. So that's just what I've been doing recently. Just been working, going to that concert, and then getting ready for my future ones. But for the next month, I got nothing else really going on. Just gonna be working a lot, trying to continue paying my bills, and continue job searching to see if I can find a good full-time gig where I can get better insurance and stuff. Oh, the joys of being a young adult. But anyway, enough about that. I want to get into today's movie that we're going to be discussing. So we're going to be talking about a brand new film that's currently making its way through the theater circuit right now. The movie is called Send Help. Now, this movie I was really looking forward to go seeing. I saw this picture this past Thursday night. My buddy Orion went with me to go see it at a VIP theater in Mattoon, and it was awesome. We had a great time. We went to the 7:40 showing, and the movie is pretty much about 2 hours long. Well, it's like an hour and 53 minutes to be exact, and I gotta tell you, it was one of the most uncomfortable films that I've seen in the theater. There were several parts in this where I was grinding my teeth, But yeah, it was a real shocker to say the least. And I mean, the main reason I wanted to see this is because I'm a big supporter of Sam Raimi. I enjoy his work. I met him at Flashback Weekend back in 2024, and he is without a doubt the greatest celebrity encounter I've ever had in my life. He was such a nice guy, and it was awesome getting to talk to him. And he autographed my Spider-Man 2 posters. So yeah, when I found out he had directed a new movie, I'm like, I gotta go see it, because I haven't gotten a chance to see a Raimi film in theaters, but now I have, so very amazing I got to do that. So the movie was released in theaters on January 30th of this year. The director was Sam Raimi, and the budget was $40 million, and that's not that much money. I mean, compared to most films nowadays. I mean, 40 million is not that bad. So I can definitely see this movie making its money back. I mean, I just saw articles coming out saying that it seems to be doing pretty well for its opening right now. So that's good. Our main two actors in this is Rachel McAdams. She plays Linda Little. Linda Little, or I think that's how you pronounce it. And then we have our second main character, Dylan O'Brien, who plays Bradley Peterson. They're the top two actors in this. We have some other side actors in this, like Dennis Haybert. He plays Franklin. And we all know him as the Allstate guy. Allstate, are you in good hands? Yeah, he's always going to be the Allstate guy to me. But But yeah, he makes an appearance in this for like, he's in it for like 5 minutes or something. But I just thought it was kind of funny because every time he talks, all I can think of is the Allstate commercials. But yeah, Rachel and Dylan, I gotta take a minute to say, both of them knocked it out of the park with their performances, especially Rachel. Like, if you guys thought she could act, like, you gotta see her in this. Like, her range is absolutely insane. I mean, like, there were so many things that she did in this I didn't think she was capable of doing. Like, I mean, granted, I've only seen her in, like, a couple of things, so I had no idea she had, like, this kind of range, like, she was, her character was a real nut job in this film, and, man, Rachel gave one heck of a performance. And it was cool to see Dylan O'Brien in this. I got introduced to him recently because this past Christmas, my mother and we had watched all 3 of the Maze Runner pictures on Netflix, and I really enjoyed those. So it was cool getting to see him in something else. The only other thing I know that he's been in was the Teen Wolf TV show. And he was in a movie called American Assassin. And then in 2020, he did a film called Love and Monsters. I haven't seen those. But anyway, it was cool to see him in this. So to give you an idea of their character. So Rachel's character, she plays like this woman who has spent way too much time alone. Like, her character is like really work obsessed. She lives by herself, and she really gives the idea that there's like a few screws loose in her head. Like, it's like she's like a ticking time bomb, and all she's waiting for is some kind of event that's just gonna make her go off the rails. And that happens when she's on a business trip and her boss is with her, played by Dylan O'Brien, and they're on a plane during a storm, and it crashes in the ocean, and they're the only survivors. And now they're stuck on an island together, and now she's given the chance to just, give this man a piece of her mind, because for the first, like, I would say 40 minutes of the movie, maybe 30 minutes, we get an inside look of Linda's life, and it's not that great. The office she works at, the guys keep taking credit for all the work that she's done. Like, there's literally a scene in this where she finishes up a report for a meeting. She's getting ready to go in there, then one of the guy workers is like, actually, no, you're not going in there. I'm taking this. Don't worry. I'll let them know you made it. And the minute he walks into the conference room, he rips the sticky note off the report that has Linda's name on it, and then says that he's the one who did it. And then after this, as the story progresses, we learn that Linda's boss has passed away, and now his son is now taking over as the boss of the company she works for, and it's Bradley Peterson, played by Dylan. And the minute he walks in, you learn right away this guy is a snobby little brat. He's one of those guys where he's never worked hard a day in his life. He's lived a very rich and privileged lifestyle. He has no idea what it means to work hard, and he gets annoyed at the dumbest little things, and he treats Linda like crap the minute he gets to the office. And we learn that his father had promised Linda a new top slot in the department, and he immediately says that she's not getting it, and he gives it to the guy who took her work earlier. So that made her even more angry, and then he's like, here, I'll tell you what, to make up for it, go on this business trip with me. And then when they're on the plane, she's literally in the back of the plane, typing out a new report to show him that she's a good employee still. And then him and his guy friends, the male employees, they're further up in the plane, and one of the employees looked up. So Linda, you find out that Linda is really big into the this survival show, where like people go on islands to see how long they can survive for, and she watches those a lot. Apparently, she had made an audition tape to be on that show, And one of the employees found it, and he looked it up on his computer, and him and the other guys and Bradley, they're all sitting there laughing at it and stuff, and she realizes what they're watching, and she deletes the file, and she's like about ready to blow a gasket, and that's when the plane crashes, and we get this hilarious moment where the cabin of the plane bursts open, and then all the male employees get sucked out of it, and then one guy grabs on to Linda's chair, and he's like yelling in her face to give me your seat, you know, and he's literally choking her, and she literally grabs a fork off the floor and stabs him in the hand, and then he falls out through the hole, and his tie gets stuck, and the guy is dangling outside the plane, getting choked to death, and he's screaming at Linda through the plane window. And I'm not kidding you. She literally pulls the blind for the window down. It's just like, that is the most like Sam Raimi thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, guys, this picture, all the Raimi stuff is there. The insane close-ups, the over-the-top blood and gore, the insane jokes. I mean, it's all there. It's hilarious. And apparently Bruce Campbell does have a cameo in this, but it's not a physical appearance. So there's a scene where Dylan's character is holding a picture of his father. If you look closely, it's Bruce Campbell. So I didn't catch that until somebody pointed it out, but yeah, it's all there. Every Raimi film, Bruce makes an appearance in some kind of way, whether it be physical or in a photo or something, but all the Raimi stuff is in there. Although, I don't think his car made an appearance in this. We all know the famous we all know the famous yellow car with the white roof that Ash drives in the Evil Dead films. That car has pretty much made an appearance in every Raimi film. But I don't know if it made an appearance in this. I'm going to have to go back and look, because Sam always does find a way to have it somewhere. I mean, there is a scene in the film where Linda gets in her car and has like a mental breakdown, has to calm down, and it was in a parking garage. So the car could have been in there. I just didn't see it, but who knows. But like I said, all the Raimi stuff is in there. So anyway, plane crashes. Linda manages to swim out of the plane, and she gets the waves carry her to a nearby island, and she wakes up, you know, on the beach, and she finds Bradley, you know, floating nearby, and his leg is injured, and she saves him. You know, she uses all the survival stuff she knows to her advantage. She builds them a shelter, makes some food, gets some water and all of that. And then what does Bradley do? The minute he wakes up, he immediately starts complaining to her, telling her this and that. And we get the first sign that she is not the same person we saw at the beginning of the film. She literally leaves him there, and he lays there for like a day, getting sunburnt. The shelter falls down, and he's getting ready to snap, and he starts screaming for her name, you know. And she comes back the next day, and she tells him, "We're not at the office anymore. You are not in charge. I know that's hard for you to understand, but for the first time in your life, you don't get to give orders to someone." You know, it's just like, it was basically a roast session. I mean, like, throughout their time on the island, Bradley just gets a reality check over and over again. Like, this man is so he's so used to having people do everything for him. For the first time in his life, he's not in charge, you know, so that was a very good dynamic. This movie is literally a Misery and a Castaway love child. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally those two films put together, and I never thought that would be possible to mix those, but here we are. So as the movie progresses, we start to learn that Linda's starting to go a little crazy, because after their first day on the island, she's looking for food, and there's a boat nearby, but she doesn't signal for help. She's like, "Not yet. We can't leave yet." It's because it seems that she is enjoying having this power over Bradley's character, and she doesn't want to let that go. Like, she's willing to stay on this island as long as possible just to keep torturing him more. So that was kind of like our first warning sign. This chick is not all there. And then it gets, I mean, and it's just like their mental capacity starts to get worse the longer they're on the island. Like these two hate each other. You know what I mean? And she is enjoying every minute of getting to torture this man and take out all the anger that she has had built up in her for who knows how long. And there's this over-the-top scene, like halfway, well, not halfway, I think it's like on day 2 or something. She tracks like this hog thing in the middle of the island, and she made like a spear, and she's like following the tracks, and she finds it and tries to kill it, and it was a very insane fight. This pig wasn't what she thought it was. There's a name for him. I can't remember. This one had really sharp teeth. It could run fast, and she manages to jump on top of it and stab the spear through the pig's head, and then blood literally starts gushing out of it onto her, and it's still alive, by the way, trying to bite her, and it keeps shooting blood and snot at her face. I mean, this scene looks like it was taken straight out of Evil Dead. She literally takes a blood shower, and then she finally kills the darn thing, and she literally like falls on her knees, and then she starts screaming at the top of her lungs, and like she's Tarzan or something. She drags the pig back, they cook some of the meat, and then we get a scene of them around a campfire, like really enjoying the cooked pig meat, and we get the idea, like, maybe they're starting to bond, and then they start sharing, stories of their past, and then Linda tells this story of how she was married and her husband was abusive to her. They were together for about 10 years, and then she said one night, she had had enough. She told Bradley that she used to hide her husband's keys whenever he got drunk because she didn't want him driving, obviously. But then one night he kept, hitting her, I guess, yelling, "Where are the keys?" And she gave him the keys. She poured him his last drink. He left. He was killed in an accident that same night, and she says she's never told anybody that before. And then Bradley tells her that his mom was abusive to him as well. Now, we don't know. We never do learn if he was telling the truth or if he was lying. We don't know. But Bradley says that, his mom was abusive and stuff. And then we this gives us the idea that maybe these two are starting to bond a little bit, but it was a very false idea, because then I think like not long after this we get a scene where Bradley makes dinner for Linda, and he purposely picked a fish that made her sick, and she falls on the ground, puking her guts out, and then Bradley runs into the woods, comes back with a raft that he was making without her knowing, and he tries to swim away on it, and he yells, "F you, Linda, see, the raft works." See, he doesn't get that far before a wave destroys the entire thing, and it washes him back to, and he sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and Linda has to jump in after him, and pulls him back to the surface, and pulls him back. So he was just, he was lying to her the whole time, putting on an act just so he could, try the rat. I mean, this guy will not listen to her. I mean, like, this guy, when this scene was going on, literally, I was thinking of the quote, "Don't bite off the hand that feeds you," kind of thing. I mean, this woman has now saved his life twice, and he's still treating her like crap. I mean, this guy is an ungrateful scumbag. Like, he is a horrible human being, and he's never gonna change, no matter how hard you push him, and then, and we get a very, intense scene after this, that's all I'm gonna say, where Linda, I'm not kidding you, she, gets revenge on him. She feeds him a squid, like a squid thing, and it paralyzes him. And she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, what you just ate there is this kind of fish that paralyzes you for a little bit. So for about 30 minutes now, you're not gonna feel anything, you know." And then she like threatens to cut off, you know, body parts and stuff, and she makes him think that she's getting ready to cut, you know, a piece of him off, but then it turns out to be a rat that he couldn't see. And she's like, next time it won't be a rat. You know, like she's telling him like that's your last warning. You do anything like that again, I will hurt you very badly. So it's like, now you can tell that Linda is like really starting to go into crazy town. I mean, her mentality, it gets worse the further you progress into the film. You know, this was literally like she was just a ticking time bomb waiting to go off, and then this whole incident just made her, it lit the fuse. You know what I mean? So after this, they start, you know, I think Bradley kind of starts to like give in a little bit, where they build a new fortress because their hut, the buildings they were living in got destroyed during a storm because they built them way too close to the beach. So they went further up into the island and built it on solid ground. And, you know, he's not talking to her very much for obvious reasons. But anyway, and then over about the halfway point, you know, this is when things go to, you know, we go from like 1 to 11 very quickly, where Bradley's fiance, this girl, we had a scene with her in the office earlier in the film, and she, you know, Linda's like on a beach nearby looking for stuff, and then we see a small little boat coming towards them, and it's Bradley's fiance and a boat driver. And she's like, "Oh my God, Linda, we found you!" You know, like, they called the search, but I never stopped. I never gave up on hope. I knew you and Bradley were still alive. And she's like telling her, "Is Bradley here? Did he survive?" She's like, "Yes." And Linda's not happy about this. It's written all over her face that she does not want them there. She doesn't want to leave. Like, they're like literally earlier in the film, she like tells Bradley, maybe we should just stay here forever. I mean, there's nothing for us back home. Let's just stay here forever. You know, it's like she doesn't want to leave this island ever. And she leads them back to the camp on a very dangerous path, and they're on top of a hill. And she purposely lets them walk in front of her because she knows that they're walking towards a cliff with unstable rock, and she's just waiting for one of them to fall. And Bradley's fiance falls off the cliff, and the boat driver grabs her. And then Linda just stands there and watches as both of them fall to their deaths. Like, dude, that scene was shocking. I mean, I couldn't believe that she did that, you know? And then later on in the film, you know, Bradley's like on a beach, and he sees his fiance's hands sticking out of the beach, where Linda, I guess, buried them afterwards, I'm assuming. But anyway, and this is when he snaps. He sees her hand with the engagement ring on. He knows it's her. Then he runs back and confronts Linda. And then this is where things, you know, this is where the misery aspect gets into it. These two, like, Bradley's had enough. Like, he got the knife. So, earlier in the film, there was a plot device. It's a knife that Linda supposedly found on the beach when it washed up to shore. It's a big blade. And she's had it with her their whole time on the island. Never gave it to Bradley. And Bradley managed to get the knife when Linda was laying in bed for 2 days because she was in pure shock from what she just did, letting his fiance die. And then when he goes to confront her, he pulls the knife out, you know, and then she realizes that he has the advantage. So she runs and he chases her, and then she hides, and then they get into this fight in the middle of the woods. And I gotta tell you guys, this fight between them, it is brutal as heck. I'm just telling you. I mean, like, Bradley literally pokes one of her eyes out with his finger, you know, and then she stabs him in the side, you know, and then Bradley rips some of her hair off her head. I mean, it gets bad. I mean, we're talking some serious, like, body horror here. Like, it was a very, very, violent fight. I'll just say that. And she gets the upper hand, and then Bradley has to run for his life. And earlier in the film, Linda gives him a tour of the island, and there's on the right hand side of the island, there was this rock formation. It was these two like column looking things going like sideways, making an X. And Linda told Bradley to never go to that side of the island because she said that area is full of poisonous trees. If you run through there, you'll die quickly. So don't go over there. And Bradley just believed her on that. But he runs for his life to that side of the island, and he gets to a beach. He finds a mansion on the island. Some rich person has built a mansion behind the island. It was there the entire time. Now keep in mind, Linda and Bradley have been on this island for like, I think he said 2 weeks or something. That's been there the whole time. He runs into the house, finds the fridge. It's full of food, water, and he chugs one of the water bottles, and then Linda's voice comes up on the security system. She knew about this house the minute they got there. She found it easily, and she was able to get into it because these two caretaker. So that little boat I told you earlier that she saw, she followed it. It was these two housekeepers who came to the house to refurbish it. Put some more food in the fridge. And she watched them enter the security code to get in, and she memorized it. So now she's in the security room in the mansion, watching Bradley through all the security cameras, tracking, taunting him, and he's running around trying to figure out what to do because he's been injured. He has a wound on his side. He's bleeding. And he manages to find a weapon. And then Linda comes back to fight him again, round 2, but she walks in with a shotgun. And she's trying to tell him that there is no reason for us to leave. We can just stay here forever, And then Bradley puts on an act where he's telling her, fine, I'm broken. I'm a horrible person. You win. I'll stay with you. And she believes him, not knowing that he managed to find a sharp object that he's holding behind him. And he fights her again, but then he grabs the shotgun, tries to shoot her. It's empty. It was an illusion that she was doing. She then proceeds to grab a golf club and then hits him in the side. He's on the ground, and she walks above him with the golf club, and she's getting ready to bash his head in with it, I'm assuming. But then it transitions to Linda back in society. Like, this is quite the transition. It cuts to her playing golf on a golf course, and now she's rich and famous. Apparently, after she killed Bradley, she was rescued and brought back, and of course, she made up a story saying that she was the only survivor from the plane and that she had survived on that island for weeks and weeks by herself. And apparently, she reveals that she wrote a book about what she'd been through, and she made millions. And now she's rich and famous, very famous celebrity, saying she's going to write a self-help book, and that's it. We never did learn what happened to Bradley. I think it's safe to say she probably killed him, and then, maybe she lived in the island a little longer, but then she finally managed to get rescued and then be sent back to society. And then it just cuts her, driving off in her rich car with her pet parrot in the passenger seat, and then she just drives off into the sunset, and that's it. And that's the end of the movie. And I gotta be honest, I don't know. The ending, it was very left field. But I guess, I can't say for sure if I was rooting for Linda for most of the film. But when you find out that she was keeping herself and Bradley there on purpose, I was starting to feel like, it kind of got to the point in the picture, I wasn't really rooting for either of them. Because Bradley is just a snobby-nosed little brat, he's just not a good person at all. And I was rooting for Linda up until near the end of the film when she let those two people die. So after that happened, I wasn't really rooting for either of them. And I don't know if she deserved this happy ending, where, I don't know. It's just like she, killed 3 innocent people, basically. And then she gets to drive off into the sunset with her rich car, and she's, living the life that Bradley had, basically. And I don't know. I mean, did she deserve it? I don't know. But it was a very left field ending. But this movie was definitely one of the most uncomfortable films I had to see in the theater, because there were several scenes during like the office segment of the film where you can just tell Linda is extremely awkward. She's really bad at talking to people. She tries to say jokes and they fall flat every single time. It's like she's trying too hard. But I think the most uncomfortable scene in this movie has to go to where Bradley first walks into the office for the first time, and Linda has this false idea that she's going to charm him easily because she had met him at a Christmas party not too long ago, and she thought that he was very flirty with her. So she thought that she was going to charm him easily, but that illusion quickly left when she talked to him, because she's like, "Hey, remember me? We spoke at the Christmas party." And Bradley obviously does not remember her at all. But he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. How are you? Good to see you again." And we get this uncomfortable close-up of Linda's teeth, because one of her favorite things to eat is tuna sandwiches, apparently, and she has food in her teeth. And Bradley keeps staring at it. And then later on in the movie, like not long after this, he's in his office talking with the Allstate guy, and he notices that some of the food in her teeth had spat onto his hand, and he's like, "What the heck is this? Smell it." And the Allstate's guy like, "No, sir, I'm not doing that." And Bradley ordered him to walk over and smell his hand. And he's like, "Tuna." It's just like, that scene made me so freaking mad. I mean, like, I hated Bradley the minute he walked in. I'm pretty sure that's the idea. He's playing that, that snobby little "I'm better than you" mentality. You just throughout most of this picture, I'm pretty sure most audience members are going to want to sock him in the face. But hey, that just tells you what a good actor, Dylan is. He did a great job playing this character. I mean, he was the good guy, in the Maze Runner films. I didn't think it was possible for him to play a villain character, but he proved me wrong in this movie. But yeah, I think him and Rachel both did a fantastic job, and I didn't think Rachel could play a villain like that. So, like I said, man, I mean, like, she showed some range I didn't know she had before. But I need to look at her movies for a second, because I cannot for the life of me remember what else she's done. Well, obviously, The Notebook, haven't seen that. Oh, yeah, that's right. She was the love interest in the Doctor Strange films. I saw her in those movies. But yeah, that's it. I haven't seen her in anything else. But that's pretty much about going to wrap up my review for Send Help. If you guys haven't seen this yet, I highly recommend you guys go check it out. I think it's a great, scary movie. And, oh yeah, one more thing. There's one more scene in this I thought was super cool. So, Linda has a nightmare sequence after she let Bradley's fiance die, and it's when Linda's like on the beach holding a torch. It's nighttime, and Bradley's fiance crawls out of the water in like this uncanny way, like she's a zombie or something, and she's like walking towards her yelling, like her hair's like covering her face, and she's like yelling like, "Why did you let us die? How could you?" And then she vanishes, and then Linda's looking around, where did she go? And then like this zombie creature pops up behind her, and then we get this insane close-up of it with Linda screaming, bloody murder, and she wakes up and realizes the whole thing was a dream. Like, dude, that zombie scene, that was like straight out of like Evil Dead. I mean, that reminded me so much of that scene where Ash is in the cabin in Evil Dead 2 in the rocking chair, And Linda's head falls in his lap, and she's like, "Hello, lover," and starts biting his hand. But then he wakes up and realizes it was a dream, or at least he thought it was. You know, it was just the Deadites playing tricks on him. So that whole dream sequence really felt like it was like an homage to Evil Dead. But like I said, guys, all the Sam Raimi stuff that he loves to put in his movies, it's all there, and it is absolutely glorious. If you haven't gotten a chance to see this movie in the theater yet, I highly recommend you guys go check it out. This is one of those like low budget films. Like, I want this movie to succeed. I love Sam and his work. In my opinion, he's like one of the last great directors out there who understands the concept of low budget filmmaking. This is a great movie. I enjoyed it, and I was very happy to see it in the theater. And like I said, I'll definitely have to give it an 8 out of 10. So that's pretty much going to wrap up my review for Send Help. This is more of just me, reviewing, the stuff that stuck out to me watching this movie. And I hope you guys go check it out for yourself. It's in theaters. It's an hour and 53 minutes. It's a quick watch, but it's great. So I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about this movie. Had a lot of fun doing it. And it was really cool getting a chance to talk about a new film that's currently making its way through the theater circuit. So you guys take care of yourselves, and let's see what the month of February has to offer for all of us. I'm hoping that the temperatures start to get a little better. But our next holiday coming up is Valentine's Day, and as a extremely single individual, I can't wait for all that Valentine candy to go on sale so I can buy some of it afterwards. But but anyway, I hope you guys have a great month of February. I'm not sure when I'll do an episode next, but I got a long list of amazing topics to pick from that you won't want to miss. So take care of yourselves, keep living life to the fullest, stay positive, and hey, stay happy. Life's a beautiful thing. So just keep working hard, keep living life to the fullest, as I always say. So until next time, I'm Christian Taylor, and you are listening to the Tales of Music and Film.